Can this video be? Well, let's take a look at this video, please. Yeah, that was cringe. You can unsubscribe if you want from all that cringe. God. Alright, anyway, let's just watch this video and enjoy. Let's go.
How mad will you be? It's time to do a film theory. How mad will you be?
Please, God, will you kill me?
We screwed up this
Yeah,
bad.
let's
Wrong
skip this.
could we possibly?
With such cheese that the joke police might one day raid my home and say, freeze! The keyboard they'll seize, the lawsuits they'll tease, and by now exploits the trees for profit.
Yeah, I know, I'm skipping all of them, but you wanna know something? I hate cringe. Cringe is like the #1 cancer on the internet. It is so painful. Alright, so let me just give a brief description. This is a film theory episode. Let's react to it. Let's start now.
It's a classic story about how something beautiful that everyone loved can be ruined by greedy corporate interests.
Like the internet and YouTube. And the fact that YouTube will never be the same like it was before.
And what better way for Illumination Entertainment, creator of the Minion movies, to teach that very lesson to a new generation than by taking the iconic story and adding an extra hour of runtime.
Just like I'm adding an extra minute by keep talking. Yeah.
Now,
I'll
some
stop.
people might call this an unnecessary cash grab that totally negates the message of the original story. What, were you expecting a but at the end of that sentence? It totally negates the original message of the story, but not nearly as much as the decision to take the pro-environmentalist icon Lorax and use him to promote a Mazda SUV. Not hybrid or electric or anything like that, just a gas-guzzling
The world for ya.
SUV, and also HP printers, and IHOP, and freaking Comcast. You see,
Yeah. That's common.
this right here, it's called The Point. Illumination Entertainment, you missed it. But see, they're not alone, because when it comes to the Lorax movie, audiences missed the point too. And to be clear, I'm talking about that movie itself, and all of the stuff that was shoved into it to stretch that 30-minute story into 85 minutes of runtime. The Lorax film seems to have a message that's pro-tree, ending with a big musical about how we all need to let it grow. But if you really look at what's actually happening in this movie, neither the Onceler nor the new villain Aloysius O'Hare
More cringe. That guy looks like he wants to lure children into a van.
are to blame. And yes, I sang it. It's the way I remember how to pronounce his name. Every song in this movie is a bop. Movie itself, yeah, questionable quality, but man, the songs are just delightful, obnoxious for everyone involved, unclear. Anyway, the villains of this movie
I want to be in a rush too, so let's go.
aren't the villains here. Rejoice, all you Onceler and Greedler shippers. How bad?
Can you stop?
No one understood this story, which is just a wee bit concerning since in a very literal way, the fate of the world depends upon its message. For starters, let's take a look at the main villain of the story. As you may or may not know, the classic story of the Lorax is about the Onceler, an enterprising businessman who chops down all of the trufflet trees to manufacture these wildly popular garments called thneeds. But in this new Lorax movie, that's all in the past. It's a story within a story. In the present day of the film, we're living in the aftermath of the Onceler. There are 0 trees, and the one city that we see, Thneedville, is a synthetic consumerist mecca run by a new businessman who's come to power, Aloysius O'Hare, who built his empire on selling bottled air.
Yeah, that, just like, and I'm starting to notice something. The mask. Yeah, I ain't no anti-mask, but I'm starting to notice that something as simple as a bottle can be sold for, like, long time. I actually thought of making a bottle, like, company before I made this channel, and you know, say at least I prefer this channel better.
That became a zillionaire!
Well, Mr. O'Hare officially is a businessman. He basically just runs the place.
Everyone round here works for me.
And he has his own secret police that try to stop our main character Ted when he attempts to sneak out of town. Thneedville is basically a corporatocracy, a word that sounds like it was made up in a Dr. Seuss book, but
It does, but it isn't.
it's actually right here in the dictionary, because truth is more ridiculous than fiction sometimes. The business model of O'Hare's Air Company, we're told, is that bottled air is made in a factory which manufactures plastic bottles.
You gotta be kidding me. You really think people are stupid enough to buy this?
Our research shows that if you put something in a plastic bottle, people will buy it.
Of course, there's an obvious conflict of interest here. The factories that manufacture O'Hare's plastic
big smoke.
Bottles spew smog, which in turn drives more people to buy bottled air.
The more smog in the sky, the more people will buy.
But if you take a closer look at what's going on, O'Hare might not be the villain that the movie sets him out to be. Because as much as what I've described sounds like a dystopia, if you look at the actual lives led by the people in Thneedville, the movie actually tells us a completely different story. For starters, the most dystopian part of this might be the idea that people are paying for air. It'd be pretty dang evil if O'Hare monopolized the most vital resource of all and then locked it behind a paywall, forcing people to pay him if they want to live, but that's not what's happening here. It's not as if everyone in this society is spending their lives strapped to an oxygen tank. Sure, some of them buy bottled air for their homes, but they can just go outside at any point and breathe the air for free. In fact, on the extended version of the opening song that appears on the soundtrack, O'Hare straight up tells us this fact.
I sell them something they can get for.
Just like how you can easily check out these other reaction videos, but you know, I am creating something unique, so I recommend you stay with me.
And it's not as if the air outside looks all that polluted. People are dancing and singing in the streets without having any health concerns. They're not coughing, they're not struggling in any sort of way.
I always wondered why there was no, like, gust or smoke over the sky in that one area, but there was in the other part.
Compare that to what the town was like before Aloysius O'Hare showed up, and you got yourself a different story.
Wonder what the next $1 million invention's gonna be.
Yeah. I wonder.
The air quality was so bad that people outside were indeed coughing and wheezing. What I'm getting at is that though people act as though this bottled air is something that they need in order to breathe, the bottled air they buy isn't really improving the quality of the air that they have access to in their homes or outside. It is pure placebo effect, and we can prove it using science. Take a closer look at those bottled air machines inside of people's homes. We see that they dispense air from bottles that are similar to the standard water cooler bottles, which are around 5 gallons or 19 liters in capacity. And something about that should strike you as off. The average human breathes around 7 to 8 liters of air every minute, which is more than 10,000 liters of air per day.
Nope.
Meaning that if the citizens of Thneedville were solely reliant on O'Hare's jugs of air, they would run out in mere minutes. Sure, they might get themselves some psychological boost from thinking that O'Hare's air is breathing fresher, but it's just that. It's psychology, not biology.
Well, that's a very good point.
Fresh air that they're buying from O'Hare is no different from the fresh air they'd get if they simply opened up a window. Wow, it's kind of like another resource we have in real life that's available to us that many opt to pay for because it comes in tiny plastic bottles that claim to be fresher. Go figure. I'm talking about water here, guys. Thought the metaphor was obvious enough, but I feel like I need to spell it out. Bottled water. O'Hare's air is just the stand-in for bottled water.
Alright, that's pretty much it. If you want to watch the rest of the video, watch it. And thank you for watching, and let's stop.